G'day, everybody, and welcome to episode 30 of the Warhammer Meta Chasers. My name is Adam Camilleri, and I'm joined by the mogul himself, the jacket that has, I don't know, no pockets. I don't probably has
It
pockets,
has
but his name's
pockets.
Dustin Henshaw. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing, buddy? You got your long trip for WCW, and of course, the more important tournament of the old fantasy tournament that you showed up for. So,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. So with Paul's not here, so we have the top table of said fantasy event here because it was me versus Dusty on the top table at that end of that 5 rounder, and we had a great game. Dragons was summoned.
a
Dragons were
dragon was
manifested.
summoned. It was
Yeah, yeah.
manifested. Now that dragon was manifested because after your first turn, I realized that I had no game into you. So like, all right, time to bring a
Yeet,
dragon in.
yeet the dragon, see if it
Eat the
mixes, see if
dragon.
it changes things. Yeah, and it did. Listen, it changed some stuff. But by and by, this is the one Meta Chasers, and if you are joining us for the first time, we look forward in time. Just searching through to see some of the biggest and brightest events coming for the week ahead and break down the metas therein, hence chasing that meta. And if you want to get the full part 2, which will be back in full force this week when we look back at what we covered, what won, what didn't won, what did well, and what did we predict, you can go over to Patreon and get one of our beautiful tiers there and show your support also. But this week, we are covering 2 fantastic events. We have the Leicester, not to be construed with the Leicester Super Major, which is a completely different thing.
Not how you spell Leicester, England.
It's not. It really isn't. Get it together. The language supposedly started there, and you're ruining it.
But,
No, but the Leicester Super Major, and also Mary Slaneshmus from Ocean Shores in the great state of Washington in the United States, which I was happy enough to spend a couple of nights at, my good friend Mitch Pelham's over in Ocean Shores. And it looks to me exactly like Amity Island. So you know that the town Amity on Jaws.
oh yeah,
That's
you
that's
needed to tell
Oswald.
me the movie was from because I didn't recognize
Yeah,
it by
yeah,
just
yeah.
the name.
Amity don't mean nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
But walking around there and driving around there, I was like, wow, this evokes Jaws to me, even though it's on the wrong coast, because apparently Jaws was like one of the islands off New York or something. But anyway, we are here to cover those 2 fantastic events. Thank you so much for joining us. We do this live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to join us live, you should check that out. Is on Thursdays, of course. Formerly, we were known as the Thursday Show, but we went away with that nonsense to something far more cringe in the Warhammer Meta Chasers.
It's better when you say it short. That the Warhammer MCs, you see.
Yeah,
Which was made even more
WMCs.
true at the World Championships with you and Paul emceeing most of that event with Eddie.
That is, it's all coming together, baby.
Right?
That's it.
We predicted
And,
the future on that too.
We did.
We chased the
And
meta of commentating.
Paul is gallivanting at the moment. He is at PAX Unplugged, I think, doing some work for GW. So we are without his illustrious company. But fear not, we got you covered. We got the numbers to make the things get mixed up and describe this meta for your loving ears and eyeballs. If you have joined us, and if you are in chat, thank you very much for joining us. We have our 2 events, but first we have an event shout out. And seeing as Paul isn't here, I have to pronounce the things that I typed in here that I was hoping he'd have to pronounce.
All right,
But
let's go.
Evzaro Galatona 2023 from Budapest, Hungary. This is our event shout out. 30 players in 6 rounds from Hungary. So I was just really happy to see that moving and shaking out there.
I love seeing all these
Eastern
events from
Europe.
across the world just kind of popping up that we didn't know existed before. They may have been there for a while too, so they deserve
Exactly right.
recognition on this show. So I'm glad we get to shut that out.
And they said they got 2023 at the back of it. So hopefully it happened in 2022. It
Yeah,
may happen for many years to come, and who knows?
Or there's prepping it to be every year now, you know?
Yeah, exactly right. They're ready to roll. But first of our events, this is the Leicester Super Major from Leicester. It is England. 196 players. This is a slobber knocker. 7 rounds. What are we going to see there, Dusty?
Ooh, so for the Imperial Superfection, we are going to see 6 Sisters of Battle, 5 Custodes, 5 Admech, 8 Astra Militarum, 5 Grey Knights, 5 Imperial Knights, Space Marines. There are 16 Adeptus Astartes, 7 Dark Angels, 6 Space Wolves, 3 Blood Angels, and 4 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 15 Chaos Space Marines, 5 T-Suns, 11 Death Guard, 12 World Eaters, 5 Demons, and 10 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 9 Necrons, 10 Orcs, 8 Tau, and 9 Votan. And the Hive Mind, there are 9 Tyranids, a single Gene Stealer called player, and the Eldari is 3 Drukhari and 21 Eldari. No real surprise there, but that does mean the faction podium is Eldari topping it off at 21. Astartes coming in second with 16. Chaos Space Marines in third with 15. World Eaters in fourth with 12. And Death Guard in fifth with 11. That is a very European spread.
It really, really is. I mean, for the longest time, the UK had its own thing going on a lot of the time. Like it was very, the UK had a very different meta, very different feel than the rest of, especially Western Europe.
Yeah,
But now it seems to be becoming more homogenized, and in fact, a lot of the world is becoming more homogenized as 10th edition really gets underway.
for sure.
Maybe it is a bit about 10th edition that when and the internet, I guess. Um, Being full in force, communities so joined, so attached to each other,
It
and
is
so
interesting
mixed.
though to see kind of the like Death Guard is always a European thing. We've always seen Death Guard just kind of
Yes, and a
always have
UK
English
thing.
precision. Yeah, it's a UK thing
Mm,
specifically, yeah. But it'll be interesting too because with AdMech and Necrons coming out, because Necrons are a very big European army as
they
well.
are,
So if they're going to
absolutely.
like change the meta, if you're going to see a rise in that, or if
Mm,
they're going to be very disappointed, move to something else, you never know. It's just,
yes.
I'm curious to see what you guys in the chat think too. So, quick shout out to you guys in chat. Dorian, thank you for joining us as well. Downvoted people, thank you for being here. Curry, hello everybody. Again, we do this
Ah,
live. We have an amazing chat community, so please, if you are listening to this after the fact, join us one time Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time ish.
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 Yeah, I got the times wrong because daylight savings happened in Australia and the opposite happened in
Oh, that's
United
right.
States.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be 1 hour difference because I changed, but because we both changed, it was 2 hours difference. So apologies for
See,
starting a little bit
the
late.
benefits of having somebody from a different country as three different hosts on this show is that we're going to get a lot of different meta takes from across the world.
Yes.
But time zones can be problems sometimes.
Mate, it's a wibbly wobbly. It's timey wimey. There's a lot going on there. I always do the super faction stats for all of our
Mhm.
breakdowns, and a lot of that time it's me bean counting, making sure I've got every single list, and I add those up. But the chaos super faction is far and away annihilating every other at the moment. Of course, if you were to add together Imperium and Space Marines, it'd be a different story. But the fact that they have over 20 more players in the chaos super faction than any
Yeah.
other, in this case 22 more than any other, being Space Marines and Xenos, it is absolutely wild. And 3 of our 5 podium placements are chaos, the chaos super faction, and all heretic studies, all power armor, which is very, very interesting. Because a lot of
Yeah.
the times we'll see, in different metas, we'll see high demons, we'll see and or high chaos knights, and we do have a big chaos knight representation in our next event. But I always thought it's interesting every now and then to draw your attention to the fact of what super faction is really running away with the show. And at the moment, it is chaos. But there are some interesting things. So World Eaters being 4th here, there has been a lot of hot takes on the
Of
internet
course.
for this one. But have you heard about the ruling about the 8-band being able to get into rhinos?
I have, but why don't you enlighten the audience because not everybody might
So
have heard that.
Of course, the UKTC has their own FAQ policies, their own FAQ for their events. Not GW official rulings or rulings for how they're going to run their events, because it's a phenomenally well. It's the best. It's the best circuit in the world. You cannot. There's nowhere else in the world where every month you can go to a 3-day, usually multiple hundred people event. So they're going to need to have their own rulings. And a ruling has just come to light that 8-bound can go in rhinos for world eaters, which has just kind of, I think people are just going, wow, that is such a fresh new toy. Let's get
Oof.
on that ride.
let's all hop on. Everybody
Yeah,
on the
exactly
Rhino
right.
train.
Spot on. And well, we have seen that rhinos are freaking everywhere at the moment, mate. And rhino equivalents, or
Well, yeah, the transport meta is coming back. I think we called that quite a few months ago too. It just
we
felt like
did,
with everything that is coming in the game that is very killy and shooting phases, but there's so much more melee that's starting to pop up that transports become a huge asset because a lot of these armies, world leaders specifically, do have trouble popping and then killing the things inside in the
correct.
same turn.
Yeah, in the same turn. Exactly right. When you have one phase armies, it becomes a really big issue. But yeah, I mean, Chaos Space Marines utilizing rhinos, World Eaters rhinos, Death Guard have rhinos, Thousand Suns have rhinos,
Yep.
Imperium, like Space Marines.
Dorian
there are
is saying
rhino
that it is
equivalents in there.
exalted only, not normally things.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Sorry, if I didn't say that, I meant
So it's
exalted.
exalted. Yes.
I didn't feel the need to clarify
Clearly,
that.
Adam knew that. He just wanted to make sure that we clarified that for you guys.
It doesn't matter. Any of them is enough to be like.
It's true. Any exalt doesn't any 8-bound. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I'm not even sure you'd want to put regular 8-bound in there because they lose the scout. I mean, so you scout with them anyway. They already start up the table, whatever. But anyway, to the 2 lists that I've pulled out for this one, and there were a phenomenal amount of extremely strong players here. But for the the most part, a lot of them are playing very conventional lists. There was an interesting list by Vic Vijay, which I didn't pull out, but he's playing Chaos Space Marines, but he has like a couple of units of Rubric. He has Rubric Marines and Demons attached to his Chaos Space Marines. So I thought that was quite a hot take. And if you want to go look at any lists and you're interested in that, go check that one out yourself. But we have Mitch Beard with his Adeptus Sororitas up first. Mitch Beard of the Sister Act podcast, wonderful lad. He's also represented Iceland at the WTC as well. He's got his Hallowed Martyrs detachment.
Is he actually like a one-trick sisters?
He is a sisters diehard.
Great podcast.
Faction, yeah, it is, and exactly right. Says it all. He's got Morgan Vile and the Triumph, of course, the Palatine with the Blade of St. Eleanor, which is an auto include. We have a Dialogus, 10 Sisters of Battle, 2 Rhinos, 30 Archoflagellants, a full 3x10 complement, and they are so strong. 2x2 Crusaders, 2x5 Seraphim to do actions and get you points. A unit of 3 Paragon Warsuits, of course, to go with Morven Vile. You see Vile there, you just assume they're going to be there. A single Castigator and the 3 Exorcists. So quite a lot of army in this army. What I found was interesting was usually when I see 3 units of Archoflaggers and units of Sisters, I assume I'm going to see 3 or more Rhinos, but there's only 2 here. So 1 unit of Archoflaggers is either starting on the table playing defense and, playing for the midboard, or could even, possibly go into reserve, come on and try and hit a flank. What do you think of this list though, brother?
I think it's a great list. It has everything that the Sisters are good with right now. It has the Palatine. It has the Dialogist. Sisters of Battle. The 10 Sisters of Battle, I've noticed some people bringing various numbers of them with characters attached to kind of give them a little bit more value. But just having one like 10-man stock, that I think that's all you really need with the other stuff that you're adding in here. Because
I agree.
The 30 Archoflagellants I feel are just they're out of inclusion. Yeah. They're so valuable. And again, like you said, if you bring Morven Vile, you're gonna have some Paragon Warsuits. At least one. I have seen some lists with just like one of them attached, just to give it a little bit of punch, but not investing too much into it. And still seeing a Castigator and 3 Exorcists with everything else in there. Like there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of lists in this list.
There's a lot of lists in this list. Like you said, there's a lot of army in this army. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sisters are pretty. I'm not gonna say undercosted, but they're value at their cost for sure.
I think they're pretty well costed at the moment, and just for the amount of, you could see some internal points cost to bring some other things back into the fore. I mean, we haven't seen what were the halberd shield? What are they called?
Halberd shield.
The ones everyone had.
Oh, the guys with like the stupid save and everything.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking
about. Stern Guard equivalent.
I know exactly. Wow.
We all know what.
Chat,
this
somebody save us from this. This is embarrassing. We know what they are.
Deleted from the collective consciousness
of
Warhammer Meta Chasers. And there was such a staple. There are some point adjustments that could definitely be made internally to rebalance things. But the fact is, they have so many little package
Sacrosanct. Thank you, down.
Sacrosanct. Exactly right. The Palatines with the Palatine with the Sisters of Battle. The Archoflagellants are essentially the only. I think of the Archoflagellants as the only threat in the army that's self-contained, doesn't need an attachment. Like Paragons need Morven Vile. There are so many units in this army that need a character in order to activate, but the Archoflagellants are great because they need nothing. They're self-contained. Slap a CPL2 and they're going to do exactly what you need them to do. But this is a very strong list by Mitch Beard. I think it's almost as good as it gets for Sisters. I think this is possibly very close to the best Sisters list you can run at the moment.
There's only a few things that you could change in here. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying there's only a few points that are really even adjustable, and it gets maybe a Sisters of Battle and different number of Seraphim.
It's the utility units. It's how much meat do you need to the fat? And the fat is the utility units to me. So meat being your damage dealers, the things that are going to survive, and get you points by removing your opponent's stuff, and then the things you're going to get you points by existing, being dynamic and getting all over the table. So really, it's just how much damage do you need versus how much utility do you need.
Exactly.
But jumping down, the former used to only play Eldar, Brian Seep, has been faction hopping like a madman lately.
Orcs?
He's playing Orcs, and I was like, this. And the only reason I brought this one up is because it's a different take on Orcs that I've seen in quite a while. He has his War Tribe. He's got his 3 war bosses in Mega Armor, 2 regular war bosses, Beast Boss and Swiggersaw, and Mozrog, and then a Death Killer War Trike with Super Cyborg Body. So let us pray that when the Orc Codex come out, it doesn't restrict you to 1 war boss, because literally he has he has warboss.list. That is pretty much what he's rocking with here. 3 units of 5 mega knobs to go, of course, go with the 3 war bosses. 2x5 knobs to each go with the regular war boss. 2x10 Gretchen, 5 Storm Boys, 3 War Bikes, and 5 trucks to tote them all around. This is a thickness build. This is he's going for, I have toughness 5 pretty much on everything, and everything is multi-wound, and 3 of my units have a very good save, extremely good save for Orcs. And then you still got Mozrog and the Beast Boss and Squigosaur, so they're extremely durable on that front also. I actually quite like this list.
It's interesting. I haven't seen Mega Knobs, let alone Knobs, in quite a while now.
I usually see one unit of Mega Knobs with 1 War Boss and or Gaz when people really want to run Gaz. That's usually what I see. But he is just spamming those War Bosses out. He's just like, okay, well, I'm going to try and play Chosen as well.
I feel like that's what
seeing.
Orcs do. Orcs, as long as you can spam War Bosses, you do it, because War Bosses are just, they shouldn't. It's not fluffy, guys, but it's pretty competitive.
I mean, three Chaos Lords with no gear whatsoever past a hammer with 3 instead of Chosen. That is quintessential 10th edition goodness right there. And Brian's like, well, what is green and does the same thing? And this is where he's come to. He essentially has 5 bombs, 5 missiles he can shoot off. Each one of these trucks brings a pretty deadly package in melee to the fore. In addition, this kind of echoes a lot of what we're seeing from World Eaters as well. If you think about a War Boss in Mega Armor plus Knobs as being equivalent to 8 bound, and the War Bosses plus the Knobs being equivalent to Zerkers, and then you have the Squigosaur Bosses and Scragbad being equivalent to things like an Angron or a Demon Prince or a Lord Invocatus kind of a feel. The only one I don't get is the Deathkiller War Track. I don't really get what that does, because as far as I can tell, it does not much. It does nothing.
It's another War Boss. I mean,
it's exactly right. It's a fast one. It goes with the War Bikers, so he's got another missile package there, with possibly on different, operating on different metrics. But that's the one I haven't got a beat on. I'm actually going to look it up right now.
Oh, okay. I'm curious to see what it actually does now, because it used to be almost not included, but it was mostly for the benefits of the log that you get from it.
The speed one.
Yeah, KR Quintero, exactly. Who's in charge? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mozdrug, because he's the only name guy? But no, because he's a squig guy. That's different. I don't know, man. I don't know. Fight to the death after the game.
It's possibly just there to make sure he has a first turn charge option, because it does move 12 auto event to 6. If you call the War, they are zooming really hard. Plus, when they hit for the unit that it joins, and in combat, this is my issue with it in combat. It just has 4 attacks hitting on 3s. At 10-2-2. Yeah, cool. That is a good, 10-2-2 is a profile. It's going to be exploding 6s. But only 4 attacks on a War Boss seems rough. Seems rough, mate.
But yeah, adding it to the War Bikers gives it something. Tying stuff up, or even blocking some movements as well. It's got some tech pieces to it. I don't think it's there to kill. I think that it's not there to kill.
Disruption.
The only thing in this list that is not there to kill, aside from the Gretchen, obviously.
Yeah. But once again,
and trucks.
This is a hot, fresh take on Orcs, which I'm happy to see, because just about all the other previous Orcs builds have just been, Control C, Control V, boys and Beast Boys, and just try and swamp the board. Brian's actually trying to really brutalize people, and I'm keen to see how it does.
The only thing I worry about with this is assassinate. You give some pretty
it's
good options for secondary
points.
Big secondaries, because it's I have to kill these War Bosses, because if you don't use them, you don't have much else.
Well, exactly right. And Brian doesn't kill things without giving you it has no shooting. It has to kill things with units that have War Bosses in it. Even trading with infiltrators, it's going to give you give you an option to blow up for assassinate points. So you'd almost be like, yeah, cool. You start at max assassinate, and we'll see if I can take any points off that. We'll see. Yeah. But anyway, really interesting take on Orcs, and I really want to bring people's attention that Orcs, I don't believe are solved. They do have some internal, mechanism. They can try and rewrite things and play in different ways. But good luck to you, Brian. It's a hot fresh take. Hot fresh take.
I want to see it. I love it.
Me too. I'm keen. We're going to go into our predictions part. Paul is going to default to Astartes, which is actually a good pick, seeing as there's
it is
phenomenal amount of Astartes. 36 different space marines you could possibly get points from. But Dustin, who do you want?
I'll take CSM.
Yeah, I was going to take CSM. I'm taking World Eaters.
That's a good pick.
I reckon that Rhino ruling is absolutely busted and could just ruin the entire event for people.
Yeah, no, that's a good take.
And by ruin the event, I don't mean give people a bad time. I mean they're just going to run people over, because they're just wow, did not.
Well, I mean, some people won't enjoy being run over like that, but especially those that didn't know the rulings, no, they can't go in there.
Losing to World Eaters shouldn't piss anyone off. But it's same as losing to Orcs.
Well, it's
Shouldn't
the
really
same
piss
as a
anyone
world
off.
leader player when you lose. If it doesn't work out for you, like I mean, I ran at you, you didn't die.
Yeah, the box was either ticked or didn't tick.
Yeah.
You know, I either wrecked you or didn't. Anyway, our next event is Meryl Sineshmus from lovely Ocean Shores, Washington State, USA. 106 players and 6 rounds. What do you got for us, mate?
For the Imperial Superfection, there are 3 Sisters of Battle, 3 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, and 2 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 10 Astartes, 3 Dark Angels, 4 Space Wolves, 1 Blood Angel, and 2 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 8 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 4 World Leaders, 2 Demons, and 9 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 1 Necron, 6 Orcs, 6 Tau, 6 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 4 Tyranids and 2 Gene Stealer Cult. And then the Eldari, there's only 5 Eldari, which means the faction podium.
Happy days.
The faction podium, guys. Astartes in first with 10. Chaos Knights in second with 9. Chaos Space Marines in third with 8. There's no Eldari on this podium.
Eldari not even making like the top
Never
5.
even heard of you.
You're not even that. Are they even that good? Like, are they even that good? Yes, they are. They're absolutely ridiculous.
They're very
As a couple of factions that didn't make it, usually when we get to about 100 players, you expect every faction to be represented in some way, shape, or form. But Custodes and AdMech are not here at all. In addition to very weak representation by Necrons. Now, usually it's interesting. We call it the baby wave, the little wave before the Codex drops, where we see people come back to their faction before the Codex comes in. But I would say that has not happened this weekend, at least on the 2 factions that we've looked at. 9 Necrons, I suppose. I would expect 9 Necrons at a 200-player event. I would expect 5%, from Necrons.
Yeah.
But only 1 out of 100 players. That's way unders for 100. Yeah.
It is way under. Maybe they're just waiting. I get this because of that way, because it's like, maybe it's just leaning towards, I don't want to try it because I know that all this new stuff is coming and I can't use it yet. And I don't want, because I'm actually more in that sense of that thing when my new codex is coming and I'm at an event that doesn't using it. I don't like bringing either that army or like my normal stuff because I don't want to get the old stuff stuck in my head. I want to start learning all the new stuff and all those new combos. So, and I don't want to mix that up. So when I'm there, that's the other thing.
Agreed. Chaos Knights in huge representation here. 9, almost 10% of the field. Any reasons why you think that could be the case, apart from it being just a geographical meta?
Chaos Knights have a lot of play. It's not an army that is going to make a lot of top tables in singles because they have some really bad matchups. But they have a high representation than Imperial Knights. I think mainly because of being able to avoid terrain sometimes, which is a big deal. We had a big representation of the Chaos Knights in the other event too. Double the Imperial Knights, not quite, 5 times that is at this event. But I think their profiles are just better because you don't have to take a big knight. In fact, you shouldn't take a big knight when you bring Chaos Knights. The morale stuff that they can do is actually it makes a difference in the game. They have a lot more play. I feel.
I just think of them as something that has a pretty even play into everything. But at the gradients, the issue is the stuff that they're bad into is usually the best stuff in the game at the moment.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
They don't tend to love playing Eldar. They just kind of get controlled out of the game. Their guns aren't amazing into Space Marines, Chaos Space Marine chassis. Like cover just means that like a lot of their AP goes away due to just being AP1 on a lot of the brigands unless you're close to target, stuff like that.
They have trouble trading up into things. And the things that trade up into them are, like you said, generally the things that are the best in the game right now.
Yeah, exactly right. But I have pulled out 3 lists for your viewing pleasure. First of which is Steve Trimble. And pretty much he's just taken Manny's list. I pretty much just pulled this out to show that the World Championship lists are starting to disseminate into the meta.
Of course.
Also, there is a gentleman named Hank Adams, who a lovely gent I played 3 years ago now at a GT in Aberdeen in Washington. And he was playing... I can't remember who he was playing at the time, but he's playing Ultramarines. It's very similar to John's list. He's playing Ultramarines Vanguard. But those are 2. I just wanted to show that the World Championships are alive and well and starting to make their way into general population. But just quickly run that down. That is a Slates to Darkness attachment, and I've got it's Manny's listio at the start because it is exactly his list. 3 Chaos Lords, 3 Dark Communes, 3 into 5 Legionaries, 3 Rhinos, 3x5 Chosen, 3 max units of Accursed Cultists, that's 3x16, a single Forge Fiend, and 3 Nurglings. It is an extremely good list. Extremely good list.
I mean, it won WCW.
Shit, it's boring. It's
Yeah,
so boring.
it's so
Mo
boring.
So boring. I
It's
mean, and
so
good
boring.
yeah, it's so boring. There's just so many times you just post up on the mid objectives and your opponent's like, "I can't beat you," and you're like, "Cool, bro." It's I'm happy we played this game.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because the 2 for 1's here. If you try and disrupt the accursed cultists, it's very easy for a lot of armies to swing and miss, and then if the accursed cult don't get you, each one of them is usually backed up by at least 5 chosen, and then they come in, smash your face, and then continue on their merry way into your back lines, and it actually can be worse for you to try and disrupt the occultists on the middle of the table.
Yep.
The second list, of course, I had to pull out a Chaos Knights list with them in such representation. There are some interesting takes on Chaos Knights here. There's a couple lists that are taking the Rampager and a actual decent sized contingent of demons. That being, I think there was a list by a gentleman who had Flesh Hounds, max like 3x3 Nurglings, Changeling, and Blue Scribes, along with a Rampager and 5 Brigands and a couple of Carnivores. I thought that's a pretty good take on Chaos Knights, especially it's a lot more diverse. You can play a lot more different terrain formats. You don't have to just Unga Knights at people and hope it's enough. But Lucas Troll is the one I went with because he is pretty. I talked to Lucas quite a lot about Chaos Knights, and when I say quite a lot, I mean like about 3 times.
It's quite a lot, you know?
It's a lot. And he's got his Traitor's Lads with a Stalker, 6 Brigands, and 5 Carnivores. Absolutely ubiquitous. 3x3 Nurglings and the Blue Scribes. It is a very tidy package, but it is a lot of little baby knights. Each
Actually,
one of them.
you know what? That's actually one of the things I should have mentioned when we're talking about Chaos Knights being better than Imperial Knights. Their allies are a lot better for what they need.
Absolutely, exactly right. Allying in, I mean, so the best thing an Imperial Knight can do is take a Calidus Assassin. You know, it's just one lone operative that gets to be redeployed every turn. That's pretty good, but it is not Nurglings. Nurglings starting up the table
or Blue Scribes.
like taking off the rubber bands around you, restrictions around your list, having to use toughness 10, 12 wound vehicles to go and do, teleport homers, investigate signals, stuff like that. The Nurglings really, really take that restriction off you. And then, of course, the Blue Scribes are absolutely just fantastic for the points. What do you think of this list in particular? Where do you think it's, what do you think he's going for here? And where do you think it falls down if it does?
I think this is it's one of the best, if you can say it, the best Chaos Knight list right now, because the Brigands, the Carnivores, that's the way to go. Single Stalker, I think, is all you need, to be honest.
Agree.
And I do really like the 3x3 Nurglings and Blue Scribe as the allies. I don't think you need more than that. You do need the 3x3 Nurglings because they provide, like you said, something that the Chaos Knights lack otherwise. They don't have OC. They don't need it. The Chaos Knights can hold objectives just fine. These things need to be up. They need to screen. They need to get the infiltrate, stop all these scouting World Eaters or the infiltrating Deathwing Knights or whatever the heck else you end up playing. They give you so much counterplay to some of the lists out there. Unfortunately, just like all other Chaos Knights lists, like we were saying, they do fall over to some of the more efficient armies like Eldar, Chaos. It's just what it is. I think at this point with a Chaos Knight player, it's like, well, they're already beating other people anyway, so like, what do I care? Maybe I'll beat a couple.
Totally fair. They also the Nurglings also give you some amazing insulation against things like rhinos, things like World Eaters, things of this nature, because you don't want to be sacrificing a carnivore to kill a rhino.
No.
But at the same time, you can put things on objectives and put things in roadblock range where people they have to get out of their rhinos in order to kill stuff, and then you get to really trade up. Or take that first bite out of the apple when you start doing the trade war. So I think it's a great list. I think this is a list that I'd really love to run myself, because I'm coming into my Chaos Knights era. I think this Space Marines era is almost done for me. But dude, mate, it's been 5 years. 5 years of playing nothing but Space
End of an
Marines.
era.
Yeah, I'm actually playing Chaos Knights at a event this weekend, which is VTC, which is an event I didn't actually cover for this one, unfortunately. I do apologize for that. If there's any Aussies watching this back, yeah, I'm jet lagged as hell, and my brain just wasn't up for breaking down a team's event. I do apologize.
I still play my GSC in NID, so I'm practicing some Vanguard assimilation.
What is going on with Tyranids, mate? Do they suck?
No, absolutely not. This like Synaptic Nexus is still one of the easier ones to play right now. It has a lot of I think the build for that one is pretty much set. It's been figured out. Same with Invasion Fleet, but I think Vanguard and Assimilation is where I actually have more play.
It's interesting to me how willing the community was to play hordes in 8th and 9th edition, and it seems like they're not really that willing to in 10th edition so far.
Yeah,
The
10th is just
the
such a killing addition, I guess. Not really sure because Endless Swarm has a lot of play. It absolutely
Yeah,
does. It
yeah,
does.
absolutely. Because, like, I mean, the only 2 horde lists we've had at around the top of the meta is now the Accursed Cultists,
Yeah.
which I'm surprised it took this long to take off. They are so busted for the points. It's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. And the Necrons,
Yep.
the Silver
The
Tide.
Silver
But
Tide,
even
yeah.
then, that Silver Tide was 40, sometimes 60 models. It's not a true horde that we're used to in 8th and 9th edition, where you would have 100, 200
Yeah.
models at times.
It's crazy. I do feel like they have some play in it, but again, because one of the top lists is Chaos Space Marines with Accursed Cultists, they would rip through those kind of lists right now. So I can see
Yes.
why they're
Yeah.
not going to be kind of seen right now. Dorian, is Vanguard set? No, about 1,000 points of it is set, and then the rest of it's kind of still being figured out.
Well, that's a good way of thinking about this, because when we talk about these detachment archetypes, it's how much it's how much of it is set, how
Yeah.
much of it auto populates, and because of that, they become very solved very quickly, and they're very much become a known factor in the meta. As in, like, oh, I'm playing the Vanguard. There's nothing really spicy for me. I don't need to even read your list at times, because and I keep saying this about, and this is a 10th edition thing, but at times, all you need to do is just see their detachment. Don't need to see their list.
All the time. That's where I don't like where a meta sits. If you see a detachment, like, oh, I know exactly what's in that. I don't like that,
Yeah.
but we will have those. And so, but it's not always bad, because sometimes the detachment is just, this is what's good. Like you have to take
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Spot on. Exactly right. The last list for us to break down for the show is Mr. Danny McDevitt.
Danny! I love that guy.
Danny, our beautiful baby boy. 6'4" something.
Yeah,
big.
our little baby boy. I was sitting next to him commentating at LVO, and he couldn't see me.
Dude's
So
a
much taller
giant.
than
He's
me.
absolute monster. He's playing Tau Empire. He's listing himself as Fireside Enclaves. Pull the other one, mate. Just list his Tau next time. Actually, in fact, Adam's gripe of the day: stop listing your Votan as Ymir. Stop listing your just vanilla Astartes as Exorcists and Minotaurs. No one cares. You're not getting any points. You're not getting any
Who are you kidding?
points
You're not a
anybody.
fluff player.
You're just making Adam's life harder, because when my numbers don't line up at the end, when I've control F through all the major factions and sub factions, I've got to go past. I'm like, look at this clown with his exorcists. Look at this guy with his raptors. No one's impressed, mate. Far side enclave. Blah. You can call it that when they get a detachment, you noob.
Yeah.
Anyway, Danny McDevitt has his Carrion detachment. He's got 2 Fireblades and Commander Farsight, Coalstar Commander, and a Long Strike. He's got a Long Strike, which is interesting. 2x10 Breaches into Devilfish, because they are so freaking good. 2x6 Crisis Suits with what you would expect. I think, if I remember right, one's Fusion, one's Ion. 2 Hammerheads with Rails. So he's got 2 Hammerheads and Long Strike, which is why I pulled this out pretty much. 4 Crute, 3 Stealth Suits, and of course the 2x2 Tetras. Looking at this meta, has Danny made a good meta choice, is what I was trying to figure out. Because he's taken the package of Long Strike with the 2 Hammerheads. Do you know what they do?
The Hammerheads?
Yeah.
I think we looked that up a couple episodes ago, and
So
we were still not able to figure it out.
So they got their single shot railgun. So one shot,
Yeah.
regular ones are hitting on 4s, +1 to hit if they're shooting at monsters or vehicles. So they hit you on 3s with 1 reroll to hit or to wound. And then they are strength 20. just a little bit. So wounding anything they get +1 to hit against, they're usually wounding on 3s rerolling. And then they are, what is it, -4? -5, baby. D6 +6 damage, so -7. So they are phenomenally good at a single Hammerhead picking up a single, like, Chaos Knight, for example.
Yeah.
Of which there are many. There's 9. So
Yeah,
which you
there are
could
many
assume
of
you could assume there's about 10 Chaos Knights at a minimum in every one of those lists. That's 90 premium targets, in addition to all the Rhinos, Forge Fiends, even Obliterators. People are taking all the Chaos Space Marine lists as well. So there's plenty of targets for these guys. And of course, their +1 to hit also works on their Seeker Missiles, of which they all have 2, and also works on their accelerators and stuff like that. Long Strike, I think, points at one of these guys and gives them an additional +1 to hit. I'm trying to figure. I can't remember what Long Strike does. I'm looking him up right now. But has Danny made a shrewd meta choice here, mate? Is he looking at the meta and being like, is his finger on the pulse? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, but I feel like it's more He's taken
No.
2 of everything that's good, and then 2 of a few things that he just likes.
Well, because I was of the opinion that hammerheads weren't good.
That's
But
where the
that's
2
straight
things that
up.
they like, yeah.
Yeah, straight up. I was of the opinion
But
hammerheads were
he
not
has
worth it.
2x10 breaches in the 2 devilfish. He has 2x6 crisis suits. He has
Crisis
2x2
suits, yeah.
tetras. Those are the 3
Yeah.
things that are good.
Ubiquitous.
And I'm gonna say like the 2 like Farsight and Cold Star. I'm gonna consider those 2 commanders. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's taken 2 of most of the things that are good, and then 2 of something that is like, I like these, which I can respect.
So long strike points at one of the hammerheads and gives it lethal hits.
Lethal, and they has the rail guns on them.
Yep. Although the railguns also have devil wounds, by the way. Not that it matters that much anymore, but it does when you're shooting it like 4.
I mean, it does matter.
Chaos Knights. Yeah, it does.
Does Tau have a way to make them just get an auto 6 somehow? Because
I don't believe they do.
Well, I feel like one shot. That's a huge. I got lethal hits with this one shot. Woo! I mean, it's good if it happens.
They got the 2 seekers, which is going to be, they're going to have a go turn where each one of them pops out and tries to do the thing. So I guess there's a couple of weapons there that could really make use of it. But even with 3 relevant shots, it's a coin flip whether or not you're going to get a lethal hit. So it doesn't seem to be a very good buff to me. The only reason I
you need a lethal hit with strength 20.
No, you don't. You
feels a little
don't.
redundant.
Really doesn't matter, mate. It's not a very good ability. Yeah, that was my thing. I'm like, it doesn't give a
Danny, explain it to us. Why?
Danny, yeah. What's the dealio,
what?
Mate? But I wanted to pull it out because firstly, it was funny. It was a little bit of a different little package inserted in, and this is what I want to start seeing more from people and their lists. Not just taking exactly word for word the best stuff. Take the best bits of the best stuff, like take your 3 Curse Lords and Chosen and 1 unit of Curse Cultists, but then feel free to strap 500 points of your flavor onto lists, because people, 10th edition is starting to get a little bit of cookie cutter, like we've said already on the show, but there is still within these super detachments, which auto self-populate a percentage of, because that's just the good stuff in the list. You can still make some flavor, put some stuff in here. I suppose if that's the message at home that I'm trying to send home, is like, give it a crack. You don't need it. You don't need to take it word for word. The best stuff, Steve Trimble.
You could be a meta chaser too.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So once again, we're going to pick our factions. We got Astartes getting locked in here for Paul. I'm going to pick first. On the next side, I am going to back the Chaos Knights to get a podium at least.
Woo!
Spicy takes.
I'm taking CSM again.
I'm sorry, lamer.
Look at this lamer. They are just like the best faction in the game right now. They are
just yawning at you. Just yawning at Justin. Yep. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Hey,
boring.
If you didn't want me picking him, you should not let me pick him, because I'm picking
Dustin, the boring Henshaw.
Yep. Well, I may be boring, but I'm undefeated.
You're going to get the points. Yeah. Yeah, for those of you who do not know, over on part 2, so the reason we pick factions is because we give each other points every week on how well we did picking the factions. You get 3 points if you pick first place, 2 points for second, 3 points for third, and then if no one's picked a podium, the next person who picked something in the gets 1 point. So if no one picked either of the podium, but someone picked Necrons come 6th, that person gets 1 point. Then at the end of the month, we tally it up and hang shit on each other, essentially, over in part 2. And so far, Dustin is 3-0, and this is going to be the last week of scoring for this month. And then we're going to going into December. And December's going to usually pretty quiet. December's pretty quiet. So we might be covering some smaller events, or maybe not even covering any events, just talking absolute nonsense about the meta and how codexes are doing and things like that. So we'll be mixing it up quite a bit. But that is the end of the faction and meta breakdown for our week, mate. Any hot takes from your lovely self?
Hot takes? I mean, I like where the meta is right now. The only 2 things that I don't like, which are pretty obvious, I don't like where Eldari and Chaos Space Marines are. I feel like even Space Marines are fine right now. I don't think they're overtuned. I think they're actually in a good spot. Eldari and CSM specifically, Eldari even don't really need much. It's just the CSM that really need just a tap.
I'd love to do. I don't think J-Dub's ever going to do it. And now that I'm whatever, I'm saying whatever I want. I'm like, I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. I'd love to see them start putting detachment points on units.
Ooh.
So Devastator Centurions.
Wait a minute, have you been playing AOS? Isn't that an AOS thing?
Shush. Never heard of the game.
Wait a minute.
I don't know what.
Wait a minute.
What this age of slag war or something you were talking about. Never heard of this game system. I didn't commentate it last weekend or whatever. But So the case in point, Devastator Centurions, trash tier garbage, and Leicester in the Vanguard. In the Vanguard, they're world-ending monsters. They will kill freaking everything.
That
in the
is
game.
actually
every turn of the game.
that
They
would
can
get
remove
you to see a bunch of different things in the meta as well, because if you're going to get less points for a less optimized attachment, then it could actually bring some more play in there. I like it. No, I like that.
Yeah. I love the idea of it. I doubt they'll ever do it, but it could be like.
I mean, they did it in another game that they made.
No, never been done before. This is brand new. It's brand new. Adam doesn't steal off other game systems. So it's all original thought here. No. But yeah, something like that. Because aggressors, aggressors are really good in a couple of different detachments, but they're so much better in some than others. So, and Dev Centurions is the one I can think of as well. Neurolictors and like stuff like that for the Vanguard on your end, they are so much better.
Oh, dude, Neurolictors are just broken in any detachment. They are way undercosted.
That's true.
I mean, I did not say that. I'm going to edit that out. No,
no, definitely don't nerf anything in there.
Don't nerf them.
Hot take: how big a splash is Necrons and Admech going to make?
Immediately, not much. You think
this much? Yeah, this much.
This
we'll see if the Devil Wind Bomb from Necrons.
You're not watching this live. You're not seeing how big it's like inchworm size. That's
we'll see if the Devil Wind Bombs makes a big enough splash for Necrons to shake some things up. I'm worried if it gets nerfed, what the next thing down from that is, or is it just Unga Bunga Wraiths, which I actually don't love the 18 Wraith build that people are raving about at the moment.
Yeah,
it just doesn't do that much. I mean, sure, it lives, and living is good in 10th edition.
They
living
did that before. They did it before.
Exactly.
In fact, probably arguably better.
Yeah, they did. They literally, it was better before than what they're going to be now. But they bring a different couple of defensive metrics to things like 4-up invuln, 5 pain, more wounds, more toughness. So we will see. But I'm not expecting huge things out of them, which is funnily enough exactly the same as what we've had for the previous two codexes.
Which is fine. Like I'm okay
made a
with
little
that.
splash and just been they've just been okay.
Be like a couple tournaments, like actually it's okay. I can go back in the water.
It's fun. Yeah, nothing's been busted. Nothing from any of the codexes has come out and just been absolutely off its guts. But let us jump into our final closing segment, a little palate cleanser, as Paul likes to say, mate. I don't have the screen up, so don't bother with the timer. Just feel free to throw out the questions, and we'll just.
Don't bother with the timer. Whoops, I blanked out the wrong thing. There we go. Pontificate. All right. Well, today's Fuego theme is embarrassing facts about yourself. Well, we might need to take away our everybody rating pretty soon, but we'll see.
That river is deep and wide.
Hopefully it doesn't go too deep with this, but I guess we're gonna find out. Here we go.
All right, mate.
Question number 1. What is the most embarrassing song on your phone right now?
Actually, sorry, I will tell you a story.
Okay.
There is an old anime called Angel Cop. Very old, very obscure. I think it's a late 80s or early 90s anime. It has the best theme song. I love the theme song so much. It's just like a boppy, like Japanese lady singing along. It's so good. I was in the airport waiting for my flight out of Toronto. And a bunch of metalheads walked by. I must be looking like a metalhead these days, but I was bobbing my head to this like jazzy, poppy Japanese lady just singing along, and one metalhead threw up the horns at me. I'm like, yeah,
like you have no idea what I'm actually listening to.
Thinking up listening to something
Evangelion theme song.
Yeah, buddy, get into it. Everyone, go Google Angel Cop theme. It's fantastic. The anime is really good as well. Pretty messed up as 90s animes I want to be. But is that the most embarrassing one? I'm not sure it is.
That's not the most embarrassing one, bro.
I've got some Adele. I've got some. I've got some
sharing time with Adam. We're getting a lot here.
Yeah, I've got some Les Mis on Les Mis just songs.
Les Mis isn't that embarrassing. Like if you're into musicals, you're into musicals.
It's the movie versions though, so they're pretty rough.
That's different.
They're pretty rough.
Less.
How about yourself?
Yeah. For me, probably. I mean, I have Rick Astley on there.
Do you rickroll yourself?
I rickroll myself all the time, God damn it. He did it again. There's actually the guy, though, I wish I could remember his name, but he did a metal version of the Rick Roll song. Oh, it's actually really good. And I have that on there too. But that's probably the most embarrassing one on there, I think. You know what? I have some anime songs on there. I'm just trying to remember what ones. Lotus Wars. I have some Lotus
There's
Wars
some really
stuff on
good
there.
ones.
There are some really good ones.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
used to have the
yeah,
Evangelion theme song on there.
yeah.
I did
Cruel
used to have
Angels Thesis. What a cool name.
Yeah,
Yeah, fantastic.
love it.
There is a VOD of that lady performing that live to like 100,000
Really?
people, and they're just losing their minds singing along.
I should
Yeah,
watch
that's
that.
another good one to YouTube.
Good idea. All right,
Oh,
cool.
we turned into Joe Rogan. It's like, look that up. Look
Look that up. Look that up. All right. Well,
Bring it up,
you
bring it
get all
up.
kinds of cool content from us. And if it leads you to something dark, that wasn't our fault.
It's
Next
nice.
up. What is something that is popular now, but will all be probably embarrassed years from now?
Warhammer.
I was thinking about it, but
and notice I didn't say a game. I just whole thing. No,
everything.
It's literally probably in its zenith. It's probably the next 10 years are probably as cool as it's ever going to be. So enjoy it, everybody.
For sure.
It's fantastic that it's where it's at. But what do you think?
Something that's probably not I'll be embarrassed about later. Like honestly, I would pick a social media platform of some kind, like
Any of them?
any of them. Yeah.
I already get called a boomer by my nieces and nephews for being on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally
Piss
any
off.
single one of those. 20 years from now, whatever, it's gonna be like you were on social media. Oh my god! And I'm like,
let's just go back to MySpace. MySpace was the OG. That's the goodness. If I'm gonna get called a boomer,
or all these
I'll do it.
messaging services. What was it? ICQ? Is that what it was?
Yeah. MSN Messenger as well.
MSN Messenger, ICQ.
Yeah. Now we're going down, fan. Then we're going down. Yeah. All right. What else? What else have I got that's cringe?
Oh, he's looking around. What? I'm in the studio.
There's
It's only Warhammer and related stuff.
I'm in my Warhammer room, so it is just no. That's as good as it's gonna get, I think. Next question.
Yeah. What is the strangest thing in your fridge?
Tahini? I don't know.
That's not that strange.
I'm trying to think. I only just got home, so I don't even know if I've registered what's in my fridge at the moment.
Maybe you should look at that. There should be something embarrassing.
I should probably do that. Most embarrassing thing in my fridge.
Or strangest. Not the most embarrassing.
Strangest.
If you have an embarrassing in there, maybe actually, you know what? I don't know if we should.
It was definitely not Gwyneth Paltrow's severed head.
Is that strange?
I mean,
embarrassing?
No, neither. Think of what you will about the woman, but
of course,
yeah. I don't know if I do have anything strange in my fridge. I eat pretty conventional. Tempeh. Like my partner's into like eating. She likes alternative meats at the moment, so she like TVP is one that she uses a lot.
Okay.
And I find that stuff strange and unusual. It's like eating styrofoam, and I'm like, what are you made of? Were you even food? Like,
were you even food?
Were you even food? Where did you begin life? Like, what did you? Yeah. I don't know what that stuff is. I mean, it tastes like whatever you put in it because it like sponges up like sauces like tofu, but what it is like void fill. Essentially, it is those those little styrofoam balls you get in like packages.
Yes.
And you have to sift through them to get your goods.
Yep.
That's what I picture. That's what I picture myself eating when I'm chewing on those things. I'm like,
that's not appetizing.
Well, it tastes like whatever you put in it. It's a delicious sauce. It tastes delicious, but yeah. All right. What's in your fridge?
Ant eggs? What?
Ant eggs?
What is going on in chat? Ant eggs?
You're gonna need to explain that.
Yeah, like you gotta explain that. Who said that? Dorian? Was that you? Yes.
I would love it if I just said ant eggs and just refused to elaborate. Just no answer.
Actually, for something for me, I think there's medicated gel for the cats is in there in the fridge. It needs to be
that's fair.
That's strange to have in the fridge, and it's actually in a box. It takes up like almost a whole row of crap, so it's really annoying.
I go through phases of breakfast foods that I enjoy eating. I used to have like almost like a bucket of chia pudding in my fridge at all times.
Ooh.
For like breakfast, but now it's like overnight oats. So I've got a
overnight oats
of overnight oats just in my fridge, and I'll just take like a couple of scoops out for breakfast.
But
it looks kind of after like a couple of days because I'll eat it over a week. I'll make it and I'll eat it all week. I'm never sure what the life when's it bad?
Yeah,
when is it too bad? It gets a bit watery and like at the end. And I'm like,
okay.
Maybe this Yeah.
So the ant eggs, they're great with fried garlic and chili. It's a dish in Mexico. So popular here and
Mate,
expensive. They're cooked and put in tacos or soup. Okay.
mate, so anything is good when cooked with
Yeah, I
garlic and
mean,
chili. I'm just
yeah,
gonna put that out. Ant eggs might be particularly delicious, but you can eat a car tire if you fried it with
if you fry it
garlic
properly.
and chili. Yeah, proper amounts of garlic and chili. Eat the car tire. What's the last one?
All right. I think there's 2 more. Yeah.
I'm actually interested. I actually want to eat ant eggs.
Now I want to try them. All right. The next up.
Yeah.
What's something you only do when you're bored? When I'm bored.
I don't know. Have a bath?
Only do. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a bath guy. I like baths.
But only
Baths
when
are-
you're
baths
bored.
are legit. Yeah, if I don't know what I want, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm just sitting here doing nothing. Well, I might as well be doing nothing in the bath. Just enhances the nothingness.
Okay. You know that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
What I'm doing when I'm bored.
I do podcasts. Yeah,
When you're
have you
bored?
heard about the?
Only when you're bored, though.
I get bored a lot. It turns out.
What do I do when I'm bored? I actually I've started only writing when I'm bored now, which is not
Right.
good. I'm not happy about it. But
Writing. You're writing a novel, mate.
I'm a published author, man. I have a novel.
I knew
out
you
there.
published. I didn't know you were writing.
Yeah,
as well.
no, it's a series, so I've got more books on the way. Two more are finished, and it's just I don't like that I've gotten to a point that I only write when I'm bored now. But I feel like it's more because there's so much going on in my life. It's hard to say, all right,
Yeah.
I'm going to dedicate this time to sit down and write. But if I'm ever bored, I'm like, now is the time.
I build and get models I know I'm never going to use ready for possibly being used if there's a dramatic meta change, like the 20 Stern Guard I have to my left. They're just
I have
ready to go.
I
Never
do that when I'm bored. Like maybe I should.
Probably should actually. Yeah,
but I dedicate time to painting. It took this guy so long to put together. It's Death Leaper, in case you can't see it clearly, or you listen to this on audio.
You didn't have a Death Leaper already?
Not the new
or is
one.
Is that your fourth one?
Listen, you don't know me.
You don't know me, man.
You don't know me.
Any more questions? Or is that
There's one more.
Let's do it.
Something ridiculous that you've done that should be illegal but isn't.
That should be illegal but isn't.
I got one. I know one.
Yeah, do it.
Driving naked.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I have definitely done that. Yeah.
There's a story behind mine. It's not like I just dropped my pants and decided to go for a drive, but it felt wrong. And there was
I'm going to ask you.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to get the story from you on part 2 this week. Like, why was Dusty naked?
That's fair. Part 2 is going to be
that's going to be
of why
that's going to be the name.
His car naked.
That's going to be the name of the episode.
Yeah, but that should be illegal, and it should be illegal for so many reasons.
I got a bunch of stuff that other people do that I think should be illegal. It should be illegal for a flight to put 2 families with small children next to each other. Because one baby starts crying and the other baby starts popping off, and then the other baby, you calm down one baby, and then the other baby, it takes a little bit longer, and then the other baby starts popping off again, and then you're in just a shit show.
Oh, dude, if we're talking about things that should be illegal that weren't things that I've done, there's too long a list.
I can tell you a lot of illegal things I have done, but I'm not.
Yeah, illegal things is a lot easier to think of, to be honest.
Yeah. I tend to be pretty black and white in my actions in my adult life.
Things that are good, things that should be illegal. Banana bread at work, dude. There's another video to look up.
There is, yeah. But on that note, we will wrap up this week's episode. Episode 30, in fact, of the Warhammer Meta Chasers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you'll join us over on part 2, which can be found over at Patreon. There should be links all over the thing for you to get in on that goodness. You will need to sign up for level 2 if you want to get to that. Level 1, you pretty much just get the show notes and access to our Discord. But yeah, level 2, you'll absolutely get access to the part 2 in addition to some other perks. Level 3, if you ever want to you ever like, man, this Fuego section just needs some lifting. Sign up to part 3 and help us out, because it is hard to think up these questions every single week.
It is difficult when you guys help it. So it makes it so much easier.
Well, at least if they are cringe and awful, we know it's at least
That's
one
also
person,
true. Then we don't have
at
to
least
get blamed
one
for thinking of
person
that.
enjoys what we're doing.
Yeah.
So there is that. All right. Dusty, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone at home, everyone who's listening right now. Hopefully you're enjoying this current meta and will chase it along with us as it evolves. We are, 2.5 months possibly away from a balanced data slate. So we've got a little bit of time to see how Necrons and AdMech evolve in the meta, and we'll see. Hopefully they could be up on some faction podiums, or we'll be talking about them in some part 2s shortly. But Dusty, have a very great night, my man, and we'll see you later.
You too. Chase that meta.